Hello friends, I'm so glad that you joined us today. Today is the 5th Sunday Craft with Friends, and I have a couple of great creators that you are going to love. So this is one little thing that I made today. This is the little tray that I included in the box that I sent to Sandy and Marla. And just look, cute little tray for your Christmas trinkets out of scrap and Dollar Tree products. Let's get crafting and see what I made and what Marla and Sandy made. These are the items that were in the box that I sent to my friends to craft with. I sent this tree that I cut out of some old fencing and this little trinket box from Dollar Tree, a beautiful spindle of some sort, a little wood round, a drawer pull, a wooden star, this little frame from Dollar Tree, some beautiful ribbon, and some rusty crusty bells and a star. I'm so excited to see what they created, but let me show you what I'm going to create. I'm going to start with the little frame from Dollar Tree and this piece of scrap flooring that I've had in my stash for a few years. I'm going to measure it, and I'm going to go over to my jigsaw, grab my jigsaw, and cut it down so that it fits behind this little frame. Measuring it twice, cutting it once, because you know, that's what your girl does. I'm going to take my jigsaw outside and I'm going to cut right on that line, and voila, here we go. We have our little piece. I'm going to remove the little rusty crusty screws and save them for a different project. I'm trying to decide where I want this little pull to be on my project. And then in the meantime, I painted the frame with some green paint. I don't even know what green paint I used, but you know, it was a green paint that I liked. Then I'm going to take some dark wax and I'm going to darken the edges, the little edges of the frame. And then I'm just going to go along the inside edge and the outside edge with the dark wax on a little piece of cloth, little soft cloth. Then I'm going to take clear wax and clear the entire thing. And then I'm going to take some dark wax by DIY and darken the edges of this little plank of wood, just so that it has a little shadow in there. And then I am going to take our little pull and see where I want it, what's the top, what's the bottom. And then I grabbed my transfers from the DIY Struggle. Her website will be linked in the description box below. You should go and check out her products. She has some beautiful transfers, decoupage papers, and lots of goodies. But I got this little floral with some pine cones and decided that this little pull needed a little zhuzh, so we're going to zhuzh it up. So I just pull it off the transfer sheet, press it down. She includes a little plastic credit card type thing with it that works great, but I just had that handy, so I just grabbed it and used it. And then I'm going to save those little pieces that I cut off that are extra on another part of this little pull, but I did not show that. And then we just burnish it down, make sure that it's all nice and smooth. And then I'm just going to place it on our little plank and see how it looks, and I love it. So let's assemble this thing. We're going to take some Titebond Quick and Thick and rub it on the corners, and I'm leaving that little space in the middle because we're going to put some hot glue there. Now, it does not take a lot of this Titebond Quick and Thick. It is thick and it adheres really nicely. You will see that even though it looks like I'm not using that much, I used a little too much and it squished out, and then I had to clean it up. It's not a big deal. It dries clear, but it does dry quickly. But we're going to use a little hot glue just to make it easier for us to move on and continue working with the project. So I'm just going to press it down, and you can see there that I had a little bit of that glue ooze out, but we just clean it up. It's not a problem. Not a problem at all. It's going to dry clear and it's going to dry fast, and we're just going to move on with our project. So now we are going to drill some holes to put our pull where we want it. I'm using the drill bit in to see how big I need, and I'm going to just start with this one. You're going to see that I end up using a bigger one, but you would rather start smaller and go bigger than vice versa. Okay, so you can see this is not really going to fit. I'm trying to force it because I want it to be snug in there, but not that I want to be able to get it in there. So I'm changing my drill bit out. I don't want it to be too big because that's not a problem I want to deal with. So I think this one is actually going to be perfect. So I'm going to drill the holes. I'm going to measure. We're going to clean up our mess. Your mother does not live here. Well, maybe your mom does live with you, but my mom doesn't. My mom doesn't come to the craft cottage and clean up after me. That would be nice, Mom, if you're watching. Anyway, so we're going to drill the holes. I measured the distance between the two little posts, and then well, I guess we're going to drill them again just to make sure we got them drilled good, and then clean up that mess again. If you don't have one of these little tabletop vacuum cleaners, oh my goodness, there's one in my Amazon store in the description box below. So we're going to pop this in there. It was kind of tight, but that's how we want it because I didn't have to glue it or anything. It's in there snug as a rug in a bug. Snug as a bug in a rug. However that goes. So we're going to use this. This is kind of like a chiffon ribbon, but it's thicker, but it's beautiful. They call it chiffon ribbon. We're going to take those little rusty crusty bells that are on the safety pin, and we're just going to add them. I did not leave them like this. You will see in the final reveal that I changed the way that I hung them, but they look adorable. We're just going to make a hanger with some more of that ribbon. We're just going to put a little glue on there. We're going to mash the ribbon down into the glue. We're going to do that on both sides to make a hanger. And then I bring in the stapler and decide that we need to be a little extra and put a little extra reinforcements in there because we don't want it to fall apart. And this one is finished. Let me know what you think about this little beauty. As I mentioned before, this is the 5th Sunday Craft with Friends collab. I host this the 5th Sunday of the month when a month has a 5th Sunday. And this month, Marla from the Chic Show DIY and Sandy from Sandy's Country Crafts agreed to join me. I sent them each a box containing the same things I'm crafting with, and we're going to see how we craft differently. Their videos will be linked in the description box below, so please be sure to check them out and say hey. The next DIY that I'm going to do is going to be with this wooden star. I'm also going to use the IOD Winter Botanist transfer. This beautiful tree out of that collection and some of these little wooden snowmen from the Dollar Tree. You get multiple in a package, and we're going to use them for feet. We're going to make a little riser tray. I'm going to take some dark wax by DIY and stain or wax all of these little snowmen. I'm just going to use a little brush so I can get down in all the little nooks and crannies. Then I'm going to take a little piece of cloth and wipe off the excess until I get all 5 of these stained, because we're going to put one under each corner of our star. And here they are, all finished and all stained up and waxed up, and they look great. I took a little sanding block and sanded off the part that I was going to be gluing to the bottom and cleaned them off so that they would adhere nicely. Now, before we put the feet on, we're going to put this beautiful, beautiful transfer on. So you just peel it off. You saw how easy that was. We're going to position it exactly where we want it, but as soon as you lay it down, it's done. So hover it until you get it where you want it. Then we're just going to take that little plastic stick that comes with the transfer booklet and just press firmly all over it, all over the entire image, and then just peel it back. Now, if the image does not stick somewhere, then you just put it down and repress just like I did. Some of those little tiny words and some of those little tiny branches did not want to stick down, and that's pretty typical because they're tiny little pieces, but it's okay. Just be patient and work with it, and just keep pushing and just keep pressing it down and keep pulling. And then you have this beautiful, beautiful piece. Then you're going to take that, just burnish it in, and then I'm going to take clear wax and I'm going to wax the entire piece, the entire front of this, to seal all of it in. And it looks absolutely gorgeous. I wish you could see it in person. The pictures do not do this justice. Now I'm going to take some dark wax and I'm going to go all around that little raised edge and give that raised edge a little dark, just a little darkness. I don't know what I'm trying to say. And then I did the edges as well. I don't know if I got that on camera, but I did. I did the edges as well. Now we're going to glue our feet on. We're only going to use some Titebond because I'm going to put it on and then I'm going to set it and put something heavy on it and let them dry while I work on another project because this project is complete. Put all 5 little feet on there, super easy. Put something heavy on it and let it dry. Turn it upside down. Turn it right side up. Let me get my words right. And here it is. If you've watched my channel any time at all, you know that I'm a sucker for some scrap wood. So I've had this fencing in my stash and I just brought it in on the jigsaw and cut out some trees. I sent one to each of my friends in their box and then I had this one. I'm just going to clear wax it because I love how that clear wax brings out the beautiful wood grain. And then canvas drop cloth, of course. I'm just going to snip and rip a few little strips like you see I have there, and I love the frayed edge, so I'm not even going to clean that up. And then I'm just gonna, as you rip it, it sort of curls like that. So I love that. I'm gonna enhance that by twisting it a little bit even more. And then I'm just gonna hot glue it and make like a garland on the tree. As you see me doing here, just a tiny little piece of hot glue here and there, and just zigzag it up the tree to resemble some garland. This is gonna be a very rustic, neutral tree. Trying to think. I'm trying to watch myself and talk at the same time. Like I don't remember what I did. I do remember what I did. This was very fun, very simple, very quick DIY. Now with the little wood round, I'm going to make a little ornament to hang from it, almost like a tag. So I was making sure that it fit on there cute. And then on here, I thought about using some of this decoupage paper that came from Brandy over at the DIY Struggle. Y'all really be sure and check out her website. But instead I decided to cut out some of these little transfers that were on one of those transfer sheets, some little pine cones. And I'm trying to figure out how I want to position them. I just pull them off and put them down. And they're so tiny. They're so cute. I love that she includes some tiny little pieces on her transfers because sometimes you just need a tiny little piece to go on a small little project like this or to fill in. And like I said earlier, her transfers rub down is so easy. It's just that the transfer sheet just pulls up so quickly. You can see that. Plus, these little wood rounds that you can get on Amazon are so easy to put transfers on. They make the best ornaments. They are so quick to make ornaments, and they're great for gift giving. Just saying. Now I'm going to use my little center punch that you see me use all the time to punch a hole so I can nail this little star on there with this little tack. It's just a little tack I had in my stash, and I thought it would look cute on there. And then I'm just going to hang this on here, and look how cute. Now, I've got another little wood round that I had in my stash. You can see it over there on the right. I got ahead of myself, and I was going to glue it on before I did all the other stuff, and I was like, well, that would not be smart. But I love all the natural elements in this. I love to actually go out in nature and find things to craft with. You know, all the beautiful things that God has given us that we can be thankful and grateful for to look at, we could also use in our home decor. And this is definitely a season that we all tend to be more grateful and thankful, but I want to strive to be more grateful and thankful all year long. I just took these little mini pine cones that I picked up at Dollar Tree and added some along the bottom. For my next DIY, I'm going to get this little foot that was on a piece of furniture that I got at the Habitat for Humanity Restore. I think I got it for $1, and I'm gonna try to take this off. Now, I kind of had to giggle when I finally got it off because this thing, I didn't know how to get it off. I was trying to saw it off. I used my little hot knife or hot pen. I have a hot knife too, but it's big. This little hot pen works great. And then look, it just screwed off. I probably could have gotten some vice grips or something and just screwed this thing off. And then I did have to go out to the shop, and my husband actually said, "Give me that thing." And he took the other end, the little screw out for me. So it was in there pretty good. This was probably built from something in the 70s because it was really built good. I'm going to take my favorite Rust-Oleum 2x Ultra Coverage Flat Black paint, take it outside and spray it, and just like that, it is black. Now, I was going to paint this white. I'm going to paint it white, but I did not want any of that wood tannins or anything like that to come through, and so I just painted it black first, and I really like how it came out. So I'm using that. I'm using this white paint that I added a little bit of faded burlap to. I just mixed it up, and I am giving this 2 coats. So you see me giving 1 coat there. This thing reminded me of a squash that my grandparents grew when I was a kid. Do you know that squash I'm talking about? It looks like this right here. Let me know if you know about that squash. It's kind of this color and it's kind of shaped like that. So I gave it 2 coats. And on the second coat, I decided to leave some thicker places of paint, like leave some little blobs of paint on it, because sometimes with chalk paint, when you do that and you apply some heat to it, it kind of cracks and bubbles, and I kind of wanted that. So look what happened to it. This is exactly what I wanted it to look like it's old, and you know, like somebody gave it too many coats of paint and didn't really know what they were doing, and then it got old and crusty. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. And then I took a little faded burlap on a chippy brush and just gave it a very, very light dry brush all over it, just to show some of those details. And then I clear waxed it to seal it all up. Now this is the little tray, the little trinket tray from Dollar Tree, and you know, sometimes it's a little rough. So I just took a fine grit sandpaper on my finger sander and sanded all the edges. I sanded the bottom, and I did sand the inside just a little bit. It was kind of hard to sand anyway, but I just sanded it a little bit and just smoothed everything out really good. Then I took just an old towel and just wiped all the grit off. Now this is the white paint with the dash of little faded burlap that I used on the base. Kind of got my editing backwards here, and I gave it 2 good coats. Also, you can see that I had some like little dried up pieces of paint that got in there. Normally I pick those out. Nope, we're leaving those in today because this is a look we're going for. Don't turn your nose up yet or say, what in the world is she thinking? So I'm using some faded burlap. Now I'm leaving in some of my, like, what are you thinking? I was going to use this fan brush because sometimes I use it for dry brushing, but it didn't work out so good today. Yeah, I just wasn't getting the effect that I wanted, so I went for a chippy brush. Now this is kind of a new chippy brush. It's not one of my old rusty crusty ones, so it doesn't work quite as good yet, but it'll get there. But it did the job. So I just did a little bit on the inside, a little bit on the outside, kind of outlined it. You know, if you've been around, you know what I'm talking about. And just give it a little bit of, and it's not that much darker than the paint that we're using, so it's just, yeah, you know, you just use the colors you want. It's a look that I was going for, and this did it. This achieved the look. So when I finished that, and it was all, I let it dry completely, and then I got out the IOD paint inlay La Folie. I don't know how to say it. Don't make fun of me. So these are the ones I decided on. I love these little viney looking ones, and I'm going to put them on the outside edge. So I'm just going to cut them out. These I did not trim. I just trimmed them like this, like you see me doing right here. But now those other floral ones, I'm going to show you. Yep. And I'm seeing how many of them I need. If one of them is going to be plenty. Yep. And I'm doing it on opposite sides. I'm not doing it on the sides like I showed you there, and same here. So I'm going to really cut close in because I don't want a lot of that edge to be on there because it will show up in your finished project. Okay, so I'm seeing how much I need, where I want it, and then I'm going to trim it off. Now, I should have it paint side down because that's how it actually will be. And at some point I realized that, right there, I realized I'd need this to be paint side down. But then when I actually put them on, I don't think I put them on how I measured them. So, yeah, whatever. Anyway, so I cut 4 of them, 1 for each side. And then I cut out this beautiful little deer and some little florals. Well, we're going to do the sides first. So with the paint side up, we're going to do a little spritzy spritz of water on there, like my friend Brandy says. And we're going to use Big Top Sealer for our medium today to do this. So I'm going to paint it all over the whole side, and then I'm going to put a little bit thicker coat right there across the middle where I'm going to put the paint inlay. While it's still wet, I'm going to put that paint side into that big top. Now, if you move it, what is going to happen to wet paint? It's going to smear. So don't move it and don't rub it. I'm patting, 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 patting. Or in Texas, we'd say I'm patting it. I'm patting it dry. Okay, so I'm going to do that for all 4 sides. I did the floral, did it one turn, did the vine, did it 1 turn, did the floral, so on and so forth. Then I'm going to clean up my mess, clean up that mess, so we don't want wet everywhere. And then we're going to do this on the inside of that tray. So we're going to wet them down, give them a little spritz. That's a mister bottle. And then I'm going to put that big top in the middle, in the tray. And let's get this how we want it, upside down, right side up. Come on, Kendra, get it together. And then we're going to put it down in there. And I put all the pieces down before I started patting them in. So when I'm patting it, essentially what I'm doing is I'm patting the paint into that big top sealer. Because once it dries and we peel it off, that paint is going to stay, it's going to have dried into the big top, and then it's going to stay in there. This is one of my favorite IOD products. I was so nervous to ever try it for the first time. I was not confident. And my friend Sammy said, you just have to go for it, Kendra. You just have to go for it. And so I did. And I get all my IOD and my DIY products from Sammy. She has a beautiful website, and it is linked in the description box below. It's www.unicorndustdesigns.com. So if you need any IOD products or DIY products, please hop on over to her website and see what all she has to offer over there. So see, I'm patting it down. I'm pressing it with a little bit of pressure to press it down into that big top so that it will get in there. And then I'm going to let it dry. I'm going to be patient and let it dry. I use my heat gun a little bit, but I let it dry. Now it's all dry. You see how white it is? And then how it changes when I wet it. Okay, this is what's supposed to happen. Now I'm going to wet it and just wait, 2 to 3 minutes so that paper is nice and pliable so that it will release. Okay? Now, this is my favorite part. This never gets old. This peel and reveal. Just look how beautiful this is. If you have never done a paint inlay, what are you waiting for? Get on Sammy's website and order some. Or if you're just extremely, extremely nervous, I will just sell you a couple little pieces. Email me. Email me, friends, because this is so fun. Okay, now we're going to just mist it down. I'm going to show you all of it, I guess, because those sides weren't enough. I'm going to let it sit there for just a couple minutes and then get rid of the excess water that I got everywhere. I'm patting it dry, and then peel and reveal. Love, love, love this. Never gets old. So beautiful. And I just left this all in for your viewing pleasure. Tell me if you like that, if you love the peel and reveal. Tell me in the comments below if you've used the paint inlays, if you would like to use the paint inlays. Are you nervous to use the paint inlays? Yes, it's beautiful. Now I'm going to dry it down with my heat gun so it's completely dry. I did sand it just a tiny little bit with a very fine grit sandpaper, and some of it did smear, so I don't suggest that. I'm going to put a little dowel stick in that hole so I get more area to cover to put glue on. Don't know why I did that. I just wanted to. Okay, using the Titebond Quick and Thick, a thin layer. See how I'm doing such a thin layer tonight, this particular project, and a little hot glue right on that stick. We're going to put it in the middle, press it down. I did put something heavy in it and let it sit, and this is how she turned out. Last but definitely not least, this beautiful little spindle. I bought 4 of them off of Whatnot, and so I shared with my friends. I painted it with Little Black Dress by DIY, and now we're going to use some milk paint by Sweet Pickins in the color Flour Sack. I had a friend down the street that lives down the street from me. Thank you, Linda, for giving me the milk paint. She didn't care for it, and so I'm finally learning how to use it, and I'm just thrilled to death. So thank you, Linda, for the milk paint. And so I'm just mixing it equal parts. Use warm water. I mixed it up really good with a little whisk and a little stick. I'm going to wait 10 minutes, and then I'm going to come back to it. That waiting is very important so that it has time to thicken up. I'm going to put a thin coat on first. You can see that I'm just going to do a thin coat all over the whole thing, and then I'm going to dry it up with my heat gun. And I got a little bit of crackle even just with that first coat. I don't know if I show you the crackle with the first coat or not, but I did get a little bit of crackle with the first coat, but it wasn't enough coverage. I wanted more coverage than this. You can see that a little bit of that crackle if you know what you're looking for. But the second one I did, and then I also put it on pretty thick, the second coat, because I did want it to, the same as with that base of that little trinket tray, I wanted it to look, you know, like lots of coats of paint, because, you know, a lot of old furniture that we get, look at that crackle. Look at that beautiful crackle. But, you know, a lot of that old furniture that you get, it has like several coats of paint on it, and it's not always a good paint job. So that's what I kind of want it to look like. So now that it's all dry and all crackled, we're going to clear coat it. This is the Best Dang Clear Wax by DIY. I don't know if it's the best wax or not, but I do like it. And then I'm going to just take my little soft piece of an old t-shirt and get the excess off. And this beautiful yarn from Dollar Tree. I couldn't believe they had this at Dollar Tree. Yarn is expensive, friends, but this was only $1.25 at Dollar Tree. So I snagged me a couple little skeins of it, and the white, they have it in white as well. So if you see it, grab it for your Christmas and Valentine's stash. Just making a little hanger, tie a knot at the top, cut off the excess, and then I decided it looked a little, you know, it's a little too plain. This is actually going on my Christmas tree. It's going to match my Christmas tree beautifully. I'm just going to tie a little piece around. I don't know why I cut such a long piece, but I am going to tie. I am going to cut, but first I'm going to tie. Oh boy, I'm going to tie just a little simple knot, and then I'm just going to cut them so they don't hang down so long. And that's that. So simple and so cute. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, please be sure and give it a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed and drop me a comment in the comment section below. Just drop an emoji, something, let me know you were here. I love to see that you were here. Don't forget to check out Marla and Sandy's videos. I know they created some amazing things out of the box that I sent them. But most of all, I want you to remember to be still and know that He is God.